Thank you for choosing to watch the Watchman News Headlines video. Our full episodes can now be seen over at Patreon with much more added content for just $2 a month. Link is in the description. If you cannot afford $2 a month, please consider using our Amazon affiliate link, purchasing from our Teespring store, or making a PayPal donation. All links are below. In order for us to grow, we have to make changes to enable it. Our time is valuable, and we have been one of the very few news sources actually dedicated to bringing you honest, hard-hitting, actionable news and information. Plus, for your $2 a month, you do not have to hear me blabber about these links. It's a win for us all.
Bullshit.
Thank you. Good morning, Watchmen and Watchwomen. So go ahead, come on in, have a seat. Got a lot of stuff to cover. First off, gonna try to do this with some type of order. My mind doesn't work in a such thing as order. It works in a such thing as chaos. And I have to try to make order out of that chaos. And that's hard to do. Typically, let me turn the sound down here. Typically, that chaos is not hard for me, myself, to keep track of. But to try to format something, to try to present something to you, well, that presents a problem. So I'm going to try to start from the top and go to the bottom. Number 1, new intro videos are coming. Bear with me. I've got a ton of stuff. A ton of stuff. Just today alone, you see me here right now doing this live stream. Of course, I had plenty of stuff to do this morning. I had to catch up with this threat assessment report for next week. I had to do that this morning. I had a grow tent that I had to clean out that was, you get water and stuff in the bottom of them, and I had some algae growing and stuff like that, so I had to clean it up. So I cleaned an entire grow tent today, and I'm here. And then after here, I'm going to try to get a Patreon grow tent video out today. I don't see why I can't do that. And then at some point today, I'm supposed to have a friend come over and bring a television so that I can pull it apart, inspect it, find out what components we need to get to repair it, and then I'll just kind of hastily slap it back together until the parts come in, and then I get to repair it. So got a full day, and that's typically how my days are. They're pretty full, so bear with me. I am working on intro videos. I've got a bunch of After Effects templates and stuff like that already saved back, already started on a couple of them, and I'm just trying to make some good quality stuff. Now that's the regular like report intros and stuff. When it comes to the long intro like you just saw that I would normally start a show with that has an entire song, that is probably going to be sometime this summer because I've got a lot of video I got to capture for that, and I want to make sure that I do a really, really super duper job on it. And I have still got to ask about a song. There's so many times I've said, I got the song, and I've gotten permission for several songs to use. But then about that time, I find another song that I like even better. So Lizette has a song titled No More Lies, and I think it's perfect for the show. And so I still have to ask her. I haven't had really the chance to ask her yet, basically who I have to kill in order to use the song. So I try to keep an open mind. So anyway, like I said, come on in, have a seat. It's going to be kind of a lengthy report today. I am going to, and I'm going to say this right up front, this is normally a Patreon thing for the Patreons that are $5 and up. There is a reason why. I had a question asked of me, why do you charge $5 for this? Well, our low tier on Patreon is $2, okay? So essentially this is $3 more. Yesterday, I spent over 13 hours putting this together. Now, mind you, that was all 7 days in one. But I spent 13 hours putting it together. So I will speed up because there was a lot of beating my head up against Microsoft Word and putting this together, I will speed up in doing it. But let's say altogether it takes me 4 hours a week by the time that I get everything, all worked out and, get a good system going. Let's say it takes me 4 hours a week. That comes out to 16 hours a month that it takes to put this report together. Now, I did the math, and if I'm not mistaken, that comes out to like 19 cents an hour, okay, for me to do this. What makes this so much different than, say, another channel that does something similar? We're going to get to that because there are some big differences. Today's probably going to be a little longer show, and the reason why is because I want to lay out what we're doing here, because not only have I invited, even the $2 patrons to see this show live, tomorrow, 24 hours from now, I will premiere this one time. I will premiere this on YouTube, so that way folks over there can see what it is that we are doing here. So like I say, it's probably going to be a little longer than a normal weekly threat assessment, because I've got some things wrote down here to go over. And like I say, have a seat, grab yourself your favorite drink. I'm still drinking out of the BC Truck Rebuild, Repair, and Repurpose cup that he had sent me, 2015, hun? We were in Mount Vernon. So like 2015, he sent me this cup, and I'm still using it, sir. And his channel's changed, by the way. Now it's BC Truck and BC Truck BC Blades, I believe. And while we're talking about him, if you would, say a little prayer for him. He had an issue, of course. He lives down south. He was a victim of all the snow and craziness that went on down there, and he lost both of his carports from the weight of the snow on top of them. So kind of an expensive thing, plus he had stuff underneath the carports and whatnot. So if you wouldn't mind, put some thoughts and prayers his way. So he's got a lot of work to do, and that's as soon as he can even start the cleanup. So anyway, I've got some notes wrote down here, and there's arrows all over them and all of that, because again, my mind works in chaos, not order, and so a lot of times things get a little redirected. So let me first start out by saying a little bit about what we do and why, okay? And I'm not just talking necessarily about the weekly threat assessment, I mean as a whole. Father Yah sent me on this mission. Now, I will say that he sent me on this mission in 2014, but that's not entirely true. He sent me on this mission long before that, but I refused to do it. I kept ignoring him. Okay? And as a result of continually to ignore him, I lost everything. And I'm not saying that, he took everything from me. No, I'm saying, as a whole, me ignoring him, me ignoring his word, and me not following his example, I wound up losing everything. Literally everything, including my own identity. And so I took that moment in time to grab onto him, grab onto his word, and let him guide me. And that's where I am today. That's why I have the strong conviction that I do today. And that's why you see the commitment that I have to him today. Okay? One thing you're not going to get here with the Watchman News, whether it's you over there on YouTube, whether it's you on Patreon, you're not going to get a bunch of ego and bullshit. You're just not. You're not going to get a bunch of that nonsense. Because what point is there in it? So we can beat our chests? Really? Right now, we need to be doing more than beating our chests. Okay? And I would rather focus my energy on trying to help you. than focus my energy on trying to impress you. Just plain and simple. One of the things that I had mentioned in my reply to the gentleman that asked about why we charge $5 for the threat assessment, it's the $5 tier. I'm it. You see it. One guy. I'm a one-man band. Okay? A lot of work goes into this. I don't have people volunteering their time to help me, nor do I want any. Okay? I've had people offer to help me, and I've declined. Because it doesn't take much before there's evil that's allowed to seep into your camp. And I cannot have that. I cannot lead you. I cannot guide you if I've got evil in my camp. I can't. So the only way that I can guarantee that is to be a one-man show. No pun intended. Another thing that I wanted to mention real quick. When I do news, whether it's news in general or whether it's these threat assessments or whatever, I do my best to keep with the straight data. Okay? It is not my job. It says news, right? The Watchman news, not the Watchman opinion, not the Watchman propaganda. It's news. So I do my best to stay true to the information, to the data. Okay? If I try to influence you in any way, whether it be in a partisan way, if I try to influence you in any way, I'm not empowering you. I'm trying to control you. Okay? So please understand, that's why I don't jump on any trains. Okay? I don't jump on the conservative train, the Democrat train, or this train or that train. I'm not going to. Because by doing so, I am not empowering you. I'm trying to control you. I'm trying to manipulate your thoughts to thinking like I do. I would rather give you the information and empower you so that you can make your own decisions. That's important to me. That is the mission that Yah sent me on. Yah doesn't want me to control you. Yah doesn't want me to try to convince you of things that are maybe not true at all or maybe just partially true. No. He wants me to give you the information as it is and let you decide with your own free will how you want to view it and what you want to do with that information. It's crazy. I put out a video the other day, and I've got this wrote down to mention it. And what had happened was, I thought I had a video up for our communications bags, our radio bags, and I didn't. And so, I felt really bad when I told somebody I did and realized I didn't, so I hastily threw one together for them. And real quick, I had somebody down in the comments trying to tell me about how their brand of radio was so much better than the brand that I had listed. Whoop-de-doo! I don't give a damn. My mission was to show people what we have and what we'll stand behind. I'll stand behind it. And here's the most important part of that mission. I wanted to be able to provide links for somebody, not so that I could make money as an Amazon affiliate. I mean, that's a fringe benefit, okay. But the point of that was that somebody could go down that list and go click, add to cart, click, add to cart, click, add to cart, click, add to cart. And not have to go to this website and that website and this website or deal with this being out of stock or that being out of stock. That was the mission. So I let the back and forth go on for a little while. And the guy almost seemed like a walking commercial for B-Tech, was the name, the brand of the radios. And I don't care. I don't care what brand radio you get. I don't care if you get a Yazoo, a Kenwood, a B-Tech. Why do I care? It's your radio. Again, me trying to influence you is control. Him trying to influence me was control. He was trying to control my thoughts about a brand of radio that, by the way, those particular models are produced in the same damn factory with the same hands and same parts. I don't care how much crap that he spews out of his mouth. I've worked in the electronics industry. I know the game. So anyway, don't let people control you that way. Don't go any channels or forums or anything like that to where people are going to try to convince you. For instance, don't get that Baofeng because it's junk. It's Chinese junk. You've got to get a Kenwood. You've got to get a Yazoo. You've got to get this and that. Don't let people control you. Okay, those Baofeng radios, they work fine. They work just fine. And for the cost of one Yazoo, you can buy a whole bunch of Baofengs. Okay, so if one happens to go bad or you break one because you knocked it on the ground a little too hard, you grab another one. If that happens to your one Yazoo, where are you sitting? And again, not trying to control you. I'm providing you with common sense information. Okay? Get what you want. Now, let's talk a little bit about what we are doing here. And I'm almost done and we'll get ready to go to this report. I try to use data that only affects the United States directly. Now, that means it may include data that of things that are happening in other countries, but will have effects that will reach us or could reach us, okay? I'm not just trying to throw everything in the kitchen sink into these reports. Absolutely not. Very targeted. I try to be very, very targeted. With that in mind, please remember that we only have a small window of news. What I mean by that is there are things happening throughout this country all the time that I am completely unaware of. So when I compile these reports and when I come up with charts, please understand that there are a lot of things, say for instance civil unrest. There are a lot of things that are happening that I am 110% completely unaware of. So please keep that in mind. Oh, by the way, that chart, I want to make this very clear. And just like the Constitution, this chart is a living document. In other words, the categories that you see on the bottom will change. Okay? They will change from time to time as the week or whatever needs it to. So I will always update this. I will add things if it's not here that needs to be put. I will take away things that are no longer an issue. Okay? It's a living document, just like the Constitution. Now, I will take a second to let you know that there is a difference between news and society. There's a big difference between news and society. And the example that I want to use is like misinformation. With misinformation, I've got disinformation, either way. Like, for instance, civilian disinformation shows is pretty low. And in fact, on the hits here, because I even give you the data sheet, on the hits here for disinformation, I've got civilians at 2 hits. Okay? Please understand that civilian disinformation is probably the most rampant thing we have in this country. Okay? That should be 100% all the time. Understand that. There's a difference between news and society. But as a whole, we misinform and disinform each other way more, way more than any company our government even has the chance. So please keep in mind there is a difference between news and society. I'm trying not to mix the two. Sometimes it can be hard. I also wanted to mention that the reason why I make a comprehensive report like this is because opinions can be wrong and often are. Okay? I have my opinions, you have your opinions. When I sat down to compile this report, my thoughts were, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, my thoughts were that war was going to come out on top by far. I thought war was going to come out on top by far. Guess what? I was wrong. That's not how it shook out. Tyranny is what took the prize this week. Tyranny from the government. But let me tell you what, tyranny from the corporations wasn't far behind it. That's one that I'm concerned with and will be watching closely. Tyranny from the corporations. Because remember, it was the private corporations that made Nazi Germany possible. Remember that. Okay, one thing that's not going to be in this report, obviously, is long-term effects of the cold that hit the South. It's not going to be represented very much here because of the timeline that I compiled this report from. But understand that the effects of that cold is going to be long-lasting. Very, very, very long-lasting. Okay? They're going to be feeling that for quite some time. And then the only other note that I've got written down here before we get into the report is that I'm already on my 5th page. All right? The reports are compiled from Friday to Thursday. So I've got literally Friday and Saturday, last Friday and yesterday, on the new report that will be coming out next Friday. Okay, because these are supposed to be done on Fridays. I'm late. So the report that will be coming out Friday morning that I do, I've already got 2 days done. I'm already at 5 pages of data that I've collected. 5 pages of data. We've got 13 for this report. So for the last 7 days, or the 7 days I'm covering, there's 13 pages of data here. So we're not playing. We're absolutely not playing whatsoever. To the report. So, for those of you on YouTube, and again, this will be released as a premiere video tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And for those of you on YouTube seeing it, it's going to be released now. I will have a link in the description of the video that you can click on. I will make the Patreon post public tomorrow. And you will be able to click on that link in the description of this video, and you will be able to go to our Patreon, to a public post that you can see, and you will be able to download these, okay? Either in PDF or Word format, right? So either in PDF or Word format, whichever one you choose, or both, you will be able to download this report in its entirety. That is how it will shake out. For Patreon anyway, the $5 and up patrons, that's how it will shake out every week. So I will have all that information up there for you to download, so you can see that I'm not just pulling this stuff out of my butt. All this information that I provide, I will stand behind. Right? It's not somebody else giving me news stories. You run into a lot of problems with that, which is why I won't allow it. Sometimes intel isn't intel. Sometimes, in fact, a lot of the time, intel is propaganda. We don't do propaganda. Anyway, nice little cover sheet. This here is the data. I don't know if you probably can't see it on the camera, but it's the data. And every week as we go along, I will get better at this and more refined at this. So, and if you're watching, if you're on YouTube or wherever, go ahead and download those files from Patreon. And I'm just going to stay up here on cam. You can download them and go through them. But this is the if I can get the right direction. This is the chart. So, but you can go download it as you wish. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look through the days here, and I'm going to talk about, highlight the things that really stand out to me. But as I mentioned earlier, I guess I should start out by talking about the report, the summary. Tyranny from the government won over, and we had tyranny from the government. We had 36 hits. 36 hits on tyranny from the government. And the next up, well, it was actually equal. War was equal with tyranny from corporations. Is that not crazy? War was equal with tyranny from corporations. Tyranny from government was 36 hits. Tyranny from corporations was 23. Is that insane? And you might wonder, well, what's that tyranny from civilians? How's that possible? How's that possible? Well, that actually got marked up because of people wanting to bring down Tucker Carlson, okay, the Fox News guy, right? Because I'm sorry, but if we are trying to silence one another, that's tyranny from civilians, is it not? Right? We have the right to the First Amendment. We would certainly consider it tyranny if the government tried taking that from us. Is it not tyranny if another civilian tries taking it from us? Yes, it is. So yeah, you can have tyranny from civilians. Absolutely. In fact, even though I've only got one hit marked on it this week, there's a whole lot of it that goes on. And again, I will get better refined at targeting these hits because they aren't perfect. I can promise you that. They aren't perfect. I'm sure that I didn't put some stuff in places I could. I will get better at it. So to the report itself, had a lot of censorship. We've been seeing that, and that's a lot of the tyranny from corporations that I have listed is going to be the censorship by corporations, because that's not government, okay? That's not government. That's companies. That's whether it's Facebook or Twitter or whoever. That's tyranny from corporations. We did see some hits on war that was concerning. Of course, Russia's fully autonomous ground combat vehicle. That is definitely an escalation. But what concerned me even more, and we're just on February 12th here, what concerned me even more was the back and forth, and you're going to see it through multiple days here, the back and forth between Russia and the EU. And the reason why that is concerning to me and why it's included in this report is because, let's not kid ourselves, if war breaks out between Russia and the EU, the United States is going to get involved. Okay? Now, remember, and I want to emphasize this because even I get caught up in it. I do believe that any major conflicts that we get involved in will largely be staged. They will largely be false flag conflicts, and I mean even on a global scale. I know a lot of people might disagree with that, but what I'm seeing is the Hegelian dialectic put in play. And what better excuse would there be to usher in a one-world government than countries getting out of line with each other? So we have to use our heads with this. I'm not saying it will be that way. I'm saying keep your eyes open, keep an open mind, and watch how the chess pieces move. Because that's going to be important. Because you're going to need to know who you can trust. If bombs start dropping or the grid goes down or whatever right here in the United States, and you're left in the dark, both literally and figuratively, and you have a foreign force that comes through to provide you aid, you need to know whether that force is just trying to provide you aid or if they are trying to win over the hearts and minds of the people. That is critical. That is so critical. Okay? Because you don't want to just completely throw yourself at anybody and be in their control. And you want to be very, very, very cautious of the information that you share. If you have a group of people, for instance, you do not want to lead them to that group of people. You do not want to take packages back that might be tracked to that group of people. You have to be careful. One way that you know whether or not, or at least how big of a concern, always be careful about this stuff. But, you know, in my opinion, if I knew that a foreign force had ulterior motives when trying to provide aid, number one, be prepared so you don't actually have to have that aid to survive. And number two, you can make the choice not to even appear at all, which is even better. So that's why it's important to know this stuff. There's a lot of that. There was some talk about the stock market and some concerns in that. And again, I'm talking just the 12th here. And there will be continuing on throughout the days. We're seeing a lot of tyranny, as I was saying, from corporations. No doubt on that. We're seeing a lot of tyranny with this pandemic. Okay? A lot of tyranny, a lot of craziness, but at the same time, remember what I said in the beginning of this. I'm not going to sit here and try to control you. I'm going to try to empower you. The difference is, those trying to control you will try to get your mind in a thought process that this is all just a scam or this is all just a whatever. No, there is a thing called COVID-19. It exists. There's a lot of people that have died from it. So let's cut the crap. There's a lot of people that have died from it. Chances are high you probably know some. And if you don't, you live in a very, very isolated world. So please keep in mind that whether or not COVID-19 has affected your loved ones right around you, there are literally hundreds of thousands of people that it has. Okay? So keep that in mind. Let's not focus on our own bubble so much that we become stupid to the outside world. That being said, there is a lot of tyranny going on when it comes to the pandemic. A lot of it, especially with these vaccines and all that. And I think that's pretty obvious. If you feel the vaccine's a great idea, go for it. I can tell you personally, I will not. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. A lot of craziness going on with it. And that is throughout the entire week. You're going to see stuff like that. Let's see. There was, well, like I said, a lot of tyranny within corporations. Anything from Amazon, right? It's I don't remember what day it is, but Amazon was actually controlling the street lights. Well, they had the street lights controlled. Let me say that a little more accurately. They had the street lights changed in a town. I think it was Alabama. I would have to find the actual report. Again, my brain works in chaos, and it's in here somewhere. And it was to derail a unionization effort. That's why they did it. To derail a unionization effort. That is insane. That is insane. Corporations should absolutely not be able to have those kinds of control. Absolutely not. We've got White House reporters, a White House spokesman threatening reporters, crazy, and I marked this up as government tyranny, but DHS to bring over 25,000 asylum seekers from Mexico. Um, what else are you going to mark that up? I don't have an issue with immigration if it's done correctly, but let's not just load them up by the train load and bring them in. That makes no sense. Maybe if we stop putting these other countries in bad positions to where they can't provide for themselves and their people, and they can't build and become a strong sovereign nation of their own, maybe if we left them the hell alone, they wouldn't need to come here seeking asylum. It's just a thought. It's just one of those random thoughts, you know? Bunch of tyranny involving like censorship type of stuff. Again, most of that coming from corporations, private corporations. Biden to review Guantanamo prison with intention to close facility. We've heard those lies before. Facebook remove actor Kevin Sorbo's account. More tyranny from private corporation. Twitter strips Russian arms control delegation account, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. The amount of tyranny from corporations, and I think it's going to get worse. There's just a lot of that. There wasn't a lot of, let me pull this back up. And again, mind you, our window is kind of small here. There wasn't a whole lot, in fact, a lot less than what I thought there was going to be. There wasn't a whole lot of civil unrest from civilians, I noticed. I mean, there was a fair amount. I've got it marked down here as 16 hits. It had 16 hits. So it wasn't as terrible as what I thought it might be. I was actually kind of shocked by that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I think that's going to change. I think that's going to change rapidly and drastically. And again, when I say we've got a small window, there's thousands of acts of civil unrest, I'm sure, every single week that we don't hear about, you know. So, mind you, our window is just what our window is. It's not entirely huge. I'm going to keep those handy in my lap. Of course, Trump was acquitted. You know all that. GOP censures Senator Cassidy for voting to impeach Trump. There's a lot of tyranny that's happening within government. Okay, not necessarily tyranny against civilians directly, but, tyranny that they're pulling on one another in government. And I find that very, very interesting as well. And lots of propaganda. There's always lots of propaganda. I wanted to point out this article. 4 Oregon citizens test COVID positive 2 weeks after receiving second vaccine dose. So again, I'm providing you with the information. You decide what to do with that information. Threats between Iran and Israel, which I know is nothing new, but things are escalating and they are getting more serious. There's no doubt about that. By the way, we've moved through the days here. I'm currently talking to you about the 14th, so that's, to me, that's not really important. We're trying to kind of assess what happened throughout the week, and then I'll give you my thoughts on what I expect. Biden asked Congress to ban weapons of war on the streets, so you can expect to see, there's already, as you know, all kinds of bills, crazy, tyrannical bills currently in government to try to take away your Second Amendment right. Expect a lot more, and I mean, there are going to be a lot more. And I would say a fair chance of some of them passing. I honestly would say a fair chance of some of them passing. Lots of calls and propaganda and fear-mongering and all that over this U.S. Capitol riot. Congresswoman wants Truth Commission to target white supremacy and rein in far-right media. I really do not believe that white supremacy had a huge role in what happened at the Capitol. I really don't. I think to think so is people trying to manipulate and control others' minds. They're trying to push a false propaganda to try to seize control, more and more control and power. And I think they're going to be successful. I'm not going to kid you. I think they're going to succeed at it. Why? Because the opposition won't do anything. They won't do anything. They will share memes on social media and show up to vote. That's it. And you can't win a battle that way. You actually have to get up off your ass and do something if you want to win battles. And you're not going to do it from sharing memes and voting. It's just not going to happen. The warning, and I put this out, of course, in a report from Natalia Kaspersky about no anonymity. I can't say it. You know what I mean. You can't remain anonymous anymore on the internet. And we've said that for a long time. We've said that for a really, really, really long time. Got craziness when it comes to propaganda to our children. When the kids' YouTube channel warned about how bad the world would suffer if Bill Gates disappeared. They're trying to mold the minds of your children. That was a kid's YouTube channel. They're trying to mold the minds of your children. Right? And this is an opinion. I will say that. It's an opinion, but I don't think that I would prefer my children to look up at Bill Gates as being the idol. First off, that should be Father Yah's position, and only Father Yah's position. But I would rather my children look up to people that have been far more positive pioneers in the world, whether it be the Wright brothers, whether it be Tesla, right? Not Edison, Tesla. That's what I would prefer. Bill Gates, not so much. Of course, all the craziness in Texas. And I wanted to mention this. Not only did the Texans had to endure this incredibly horrible storm that left a lot of them without electricity and that resulted in frozen pipes and, you know, some levels of food shortages and stuff like that. The power companies, and that's raising their bills 10,000%, is absolutely mind-blowing. I put out a report today. Of course, it's not going to be in this. It'll be in next week's report. But I put out a report today that a lady had an $11,000 power bill. $11,000. And what do? We can't let this stand. We cannot. If we let this stand, we have failed in every way. We cannot let this stand. We have to figure out what it is we're going to do, and then we need to implement it. We cannot let this stand. This is not what capitalism is. Okay? That is not capitalism. That's theft. Plain and simple, that's theft. Oh, yeah. Tehran blames Washington for an act of piracy because we attempted to seize an oil shipment, which I tend to have to agree with. I mean, that's not our oil. I don't care about all the sanctions stuff and all of that. Let's see. Trying to think of the name of the platform now. It's not here. Parler or Parlay, however you want to pronounce it. They have relaunched. I also saw where they were inviting Biden and Trump to have civil discourse on their platform. Folks, that was just to get attention. That's all that is, to get attention, to try to pull people into their platform there. Sorry if you hear noise. Let's see. Um, like I said, there was a lot of tyranny from government against government. This is one of the articles that kind of stood out, and we had talked about it a little bit here and there before. But the request for National Guard ahead of what happened at the Capitol was denied. And it just seems awful interesting that request to have National Guard there to prevent something from happening was denied. But now they want permanent stuff put up, and they want to secure this on a more permanent basis. And in my opinion, it's absolutely crazy to go from oh no, you don't need anything, to oh well, we need to lock this place down. Let's see. I thought this was interesting. About Fauci getting the $1 million Israeli prize for courageous leadership, right, in public health and defending science. And I really have to question, and I've said this on my weekly show, that I have to wonder if that's actually a prize or if that's more of a payout. But there's more talk from Pelosi about a independent commission to examine the Capitol riot. Believe me, they're going to use every reason and excuse that they can to clamp down on the American people, and to put more and more laws into place, to do more and more eavesdropping and all of that. They are going to use this to basically put the Patriot Act on steroids. Okay, we have to be very, very careful of that. There was news about how Cuomo is trying to deny the accusations and all that stuff about him putting the elderly in dangerous situations in the nursing homes, and we all watched that unfold. We all watched that unfold as it happened. We all know he did it, but he's calling everybody conspiracy theorists that want to make that claim. Yet we all sat there with our jaws hanging open as he was doing it and asking, why are you doing this? And it's absolutely insane. And to think that somebody like that can continually get, quote unquote, elected, man, I'm not quite sure if I buy it. I'm not sure if I buy it. Let's see. Texas deployed the National Guard because of the blizzard. More hits about Texas and what happened with the storm there. Try to hurry through these last pages here. I'm just looking for things that really stand out. I know this one does for sure. The health inspector in California that shut down the brewery right before the Super Bowl, and then she's doing a celebratory dance and all of that. She was so giddy and happy that she had shut down this private business, and she did it, by the way, illegally. Apparently, they weren't breaking any of the rules. So I thought that was kind of insane. And like I say, she's sitting there doing a happy dance. We have got to stop the mindset to where it's a good thing to inhibit other people. why on earth does people think that it's a good thing to inhibit other people? I don't get it, but it's rampant in this country. It's a very popular mindset in this country, right? Stepping down on other people. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Of course, pandemic stuff was in the news a lot with vaccines, a lot of, you know, there was a lot in other countries. And of course, I didn't include it here because it doesn't affect the United States directly. But, man, the tyranny in other countries related to the pandemic is just mind blowing. Absolutely mind blowing. We don't have anything here as of yet that come close to comparing like what's going on in the UK and other places abroad. What we have going on here is just not even close. Let's see. A school, and this happened here in the U.S. A school asked parents to rate their whiteness and become white traitors or abolitionists. See, again, this type of stuff has to be stopped, and it ain't going to be stopped by sharing memes on social media or by voting. Okay? It's not. The insanity has to be stopped. Or else we deserve everything that we get. Let's see. Another push by Bill Gates and others to switch to alternative meat. And remember what I said about them using the Capitol situation to be an extension of the Patriot Act. This article right here, Biden supports 9/11 style commission to investigate the U.S. Capitol riot. So that's telling you right there that they are kind of trying to compare what happened at the Capitol with 9/11, okay? Which you can bet if they're trying to make that connection, if they're trying to make it sound that bad, there's going to be laws coming. There's going to be acts signed, or at the very least, executive orders. U.S. is still, it would appear anyway on the surface, like they're poking China. Pretty much a lot of it would be me repeating stuff that I've already kind of said, Pandemic, tyranny from corporations against us and from the government against us. This stuff with what's going on in Texas just blows my mind, whether it be the way that the energy companies are treating the people or even how the politicians are treating the people. Truly, it does truly seem to me that the Texans, the people of Texas, have largely been put on their own when it comes to all that's going on. And that is a shame, right? Government should not be there to be up your ass every moment that you breathe, okay? That is not their purpose, or not supposed to be their purpose. One of their purposes is to be there, though, when you need them, when you need help, right? Especially through some type of events that, are not your fault. That is one of the times to where a government is supposed to step in and help. And they have largely dropped the ball here, right? And I know there's probes going on into why the power failure happened. I'm not sure if I've seen something on a probe as to the price, the cost of power. I may have, but I'm not 100% positive on that. Yeah, I'm not 100% positive on that. If there was anything mentioned about a probe, into the prices. I know that there was into the issue as them not being prepared for it, especially when they said that they were going to be prepared for it. And there again, the headline I'm thinking of might have been one that I shared out that it'd be on next week's report. So that is highly possible because, like I said, there's a lot to do with Texas that is still ongoing, and so it will come out in next week's report. So that pretty much covers everything. I want to talk a little bit about projection, where I expect this to go, and then we'll be done. So looking over everything and watching how things are playing out, we're going to follow this trend, I fear. I don't think that we're going to be, by the time I do next week's report, I don't think that we're going to break out in global conflict. I really don't. I don't project that. Of course, I could be absolutely wrong. Everything I say, again, this is speculation. This part of the report is opinion, okay? Because I don't have a crystal ball. Mine broke and I haven't replaced it. Amazon won't refund the money on it. It's supposed to be indestructible crystal ball. They lied. Yeah. So, it won't even give me a refund. But anyway, I think the biggest concern for this coming week is going to be tyranny. And I would keep an eye on the collapse front. And remember, collapse just isn't government. And I wanted to, that's something, I changed that because I did have government collapse there. And I took out the government part because collapse isn't just government, And I get the economy, if the economy collapses, well, then that's the economy. Well, guess what? Not everything is what you would consider the economy. When I think of the economy, I'm thinking of like the Fed, right? Or the dollar itself. But as far as individual companies collapsing, that's not, in my opinion, the Fed or the US dollar. Okay? That is collapse indeed. But that's collapse whether it be private business, that's collapse whether it be even infrastructure on a private level, right? Because take the power companies, for instance, okay? What we saw is most certainly collapse, but they're privately owned businesses. So it's not an economic collapse, okay? It is indeed a collapse, but it's not a government collapse either. So that's why I took the word government out of there, because there is more types of collapse than that. Like I said, this is a living document. So these categories are going to change how I can best see that things fit with them. Some categories may disappear where other categories may appear, right? It is how it is. But I would say for the coming week, I think the things that I think we're going to follow this trend for now. I think the things that we should be most concerned to keep an eye on is tyranny from the government, and especially tyranny from private corporations. I think we're going to see that ramp up. I think we're going to see tyranny from private corporations take over tyranny from government. I truly do. However, let me finish up with this. I think that increase of tyranny from private corporations is going to be put there to enable more tyranny from the government. So I think they're working together. And I think that I don't think that they quite got enough people shuckered yet. But I think with some more silencing due to social media and whatnot, I think that they can have enough people convinced that they can do whatever the hell it is that they want. So keep an eye on those things. I don't, like I say, war. I don't think we're going to have a major conflict within the next week. Civil unrest, we might see a spike in that due to the things going on in Texas right now. Especially with what the power company's doing and stuff. So we might see a spike there. I would keep an eye on that. But again, I think the most prevalent thing is going to be the tyranny. And the pandemic is what it is. I mean, it exists, but I think that with the warmer temperatures, I think we're going to start to see a decrease in the amount of new cases, and of course, within time after the decrease in new cases, you'll have a decrease in deaths. So that's it. That's the weekly threat assessment. So again, I'll get better. I'll get more refined at these as time goes on. And I hope everybody has a good day. So as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.